comfortable with visuals. Now I'm ready. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about autism. Autism is a strange, misunderstood disease. Just picture a family bringing home a baby, a wonderful, lively baby boy. This baby boy grows and develops. He begins making gooing and gurgling sounds at a very early age. He picks up his body and tries to move it around to crawl first and then maybe to take a few tentative steps. He starts to say words. He can count to 10 by the time he's not even 2 years old. He has a vocabulary. And then one day, it all stops. And the child closes in on himself. He doesn't interact with his parents. He doesn't interact with anyone in his family group or outside of it. He becomes more and more turned into himself. This is the beginning of autism. What is it? Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a complex series of disorders of brain development. Disorders characterized in varying degrees by difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. Autism includes autistic disorder, Rett syndrome, childhood disintegrative disorder, pervasive development disorder, and Asperger's syndrome. Autism has its roots in very early brain development, as I mentioned earlier. The most obvious signs appear between 2 and 3 years old. Early intervention with proven behavior therapies produce very positive results. Who becomes autistic? The onset of autism, or ASD, begins when a child is 2 or 3 years old. The CDC autism statistics show the disease to be most prevalent in boy children. 1 in every 54 boys are estimated to have the syndrome. 1 in 252 girls is the estimated figure by the Center for Disease Control. Toddlers who have been walking, talking, and interacting with family members and other persons suddenly turn inward, as I mentioned before in the example. Many take on repetitive behaviors, and this would include walking on tiptoes. That's one thing that happens frequently with autistic children. Flapping their arms up and down, and instead of talking and using the words that they knew before, they use guttural sounds to make their needs known. Each individual with autism is unique. No 2 people have identical syndromes. No 2 children have identical syndromes. They are on the spectrum, as it's called, and about 40% of them have average or above average intelligence. With autism, what can be done? It almost sounds like nothing can be done except to have parents who sacrifice their lives to bring some kind of normalcy into the life of this child who's afflicted. Until recently, the answer might even have been nothing. Nothing can be done. Complementary therapies, however, have helped to increase learning and communication skills in these children. These therapies include music, art, animal therapy, such as horseback riding. And in California, they can even swim with the dolphins, which is, I understand, a very effective therapy for children with autism. Swimming in and of itself is a very, very useful thing, and it happens that most autistic children take to the water like ducks, and they become very good swimmers, and it does something to help them to bring them out of the shell that they've built around themselves. Researchers all over the world have looked for the rest of the puzzle. The puzzle piece is the symbol of autism. It's a puzzle nobody understands. Nobody understands how there can be such a wide spectrum of disease with one name. They're looking for the rest of the puzzle pieces that would give a complete picture of autism, its root causes, and new and innovative therapies that will make life meaningful for the people who suffer from this horrible condition and their parents. Raising awareness of this illness and the number of people who live with it is crucial. On May 19th, there's going to be a walk for autism. And the walk is designed around the idea of making it known to the state legislature and to the federal government that autism victims need help. They need to be helped, and we need to bring to them a wider understanding of the disease. So on May 19th, there'll be a nice walk around Lake Calhoun, 5K. You do it at your own pace. You can run, you can walk, you can stroll, you can sit down and smell the flowers if you even feel like it. It's a fun walk. But what it will do will bring attention to this disease, the parents and caretakers who have to deal with the children, and for the poor children themselves who are probably internally struggling to get out of this shell that's built around them. I'm just going to take a minute to talk to you about one story. And this is how I got interested in the disease. I know the parents of this child. His name is Fada, and he's 6 years old. His story began on July 30th, 2005, and he was one of the children who learned to crawl, who learned to walk, who learned a vocabulary of words, who could count to 10, who was a loving, interested, active child. Between the ages of 2 and 3, that all changed. Everything went away, and he slipped away from his parents, from his family, and began his unpredictable journey. What is this autism? Autism spectrum disorder? Well, as I mentioned, it's a complex disorder of brain development. What can be done? There's a technique called applied behavioral analysis. It's a scientific approach to understanding the behavior and how it is affected by the environment. And behavior refers to all kinds of actions and skills. And who can benefit from ABA? Well, here's a picture of Fada in his shell. And he's jumping around, he's flapping his arms. Here is a picture. He looks very skeptical looking at his teacher. Here is the last picture that was taken. He's connecting. You can see the eye contact he's got with his teacher. He's starting to make sounds. His father was so pleased because he made ah sounds for the first time 2 weeks ago. I have these pamphlets for you to take home with you if you so choose. And I have a broader description of autism and its effects on children and families. And I thank you for your time and for listening.